a man of God that's a prophet, but you have a woman of God who is also set apart to be holy and sanctified before God, and she ministers as well. Oh, that's going to hurt some people's doctrine who don't believe that God has not just anointed the man, but he also anointed the woman. This ain't New Testament, this is Old Testament. Now, I'm not trying to justify that God said that he would use both men and women. What I'm trying to do is get a revelation to you that these were not just any old people. These were people who have been set apart and have been in the presence of God, but yet there was something that they were dealing with. They were barren. They were in their old age, and there were some things that they had been seeking God about that had not yet come to pass. We all know, because we're very familiar with the text, that she was barren and she had no child. This is key, because many of you are going to talk about the fact that you may be struggling right now to have a child, or you may have struggled to have a child, or you may think it's too late to have a child. And I came to tell you that this is really not about bearing children, but let's just talk about it for a second. We knew that this had already taken place because Sarah, she was barren too, and her and Abraham were praying, and in their old age, they were still believing God for a child. I'm so glad that there's nothing new under the sun. Thank you, the book of Ecclesiastes, because I don't have to